Hey guys, my name's Sean Elders and this is Pinnacle Combat Arts. In the comments section, I will see sometimes comments like, I can't make destructions work from Panatukan in live motion. I can't make it work in sparring. All right, really try to punch him in the head, okay? Yep. Go faster too. Yep, you could throw across too. All right, move around a little bit. Don't just do destructions every single time. Slip, duck, bob, and weave some of them and then do a destruction.
This is a test. This is only a test.
All right, time. What was his percentage of the able to do the destructions?
At least 75%. You can always tell in those two knuckles, you'll feel that, even with gloves on, you'll feel that sharp pain. Inside of the arm is also probably more effective as well, that strike to the inner bicep.
So you've been with me for how long?
It'll be 6 years in June.
Okay. And when it comes to destructions, do you find them to have effectiveness or not?
I do. From a defensive standpoint, the operative stance, and it's a slight movement. It doesn't require strength. It doesn't require a lot. Just that simple adjustment there to protect yourself from a strike that potentially, depending who you're fighting, could do a lot of damage.
And when it's been done to you, and even through a glove, what is the effect? What do you think of it?
You can feel that jab of pain right there. It creates that apprehension. You aren't necessarily as ready to throw another punch because it hurts. It creates that delay.
Tell me what you think of the difficulty level.
I think like any of the strikes or the things that we practice, it needs practice. It needs repetition. You need the timing to be able to either redirect the punch or or recognize when it's coming. So it does require a little bit more skill. But again, the movement is simple. You know, the practice isn't something that's, you know, going to be. It's a labor of fighting love, but it's a simple movement. It just requires the experience and the timing to do it effectively.
And so one of the things that I would have to say to you is the issue, I think, comes when we talk about practice, okay? When we talk about destructions from Panatukan, for instance, we have the Seiko destruction or we have inside guillotine destruction, depending on what range we're in. It's important that you take the time to learn the material first. In other words, when we start off by training, we start off by getting in the mirror and making sure that whatever that mechanic is done properly. I think that's very important. And you need to do thousands and thousands of repetitions in the mirror, making sure that, for instance, if I was doing a Seiko elbow destruction, okay, and I was practicing just having my hands up and bringing my elbow into the front of my face, okay, in the mirror, making sure that when my structure is open, I can see what I'm doing, I can see my opponent, and then bring that elbow right in front of the chin, in front of over and over and over again. I know it seems boring or not that exciting, but the truth is that when you do that, you start to develop the skill and attributes of understanding how the position and what structure you need to have. And that's a very important part of this whole thing. So for instance, if I'm going to do a assisted elbow destruction. So if my hands are up, it could be in boxing hands or what I call operative stance. When I'm in that operative stance, this hand comes in and I'm practicing bringing those two things together. The problem is that people do not spend the time to practice this motion over and over and over again, okay? And so therefore, when you're under higher levels of stress, you start to fumble. You start to have problems with that, okay? You have problems because you're worried about what you're doing instead of breaking it down and giving it the time it needs to get it right. So the first aspect is getting in front of the mirror and making sure that you're doing the body. It doesn't matter what it is in the martial arts, okay, as long as it's like the stand-up game. Some things you can do in the mirror if you're doing the ground game, but today we're mainly focusing on the stand-up game when we're talking about specifically Panatukan. So many people, or not so many, but there are a few that go, man, this doesn't work for me. Oh, destructions don't work. That's one thing that I hear all the time. And the issue that I want you to understand is that we have to put the time into it. It's just like throwing a jab. If you haven't practiced throwing jabs, how are you going to throw a jab first properly, then with accuracy, with the right timing, footwork, line memorization? Being able to understand that is key. So it's the same thing with destruction, the same thing with anything in your training. It starts off in front of the mirror. Then the second aspect is that if you're practicing, for instance, striking, it would be on the bag when bag training, okay? If it's not that, then it's getting in front of a partner and just having that partner put out their jab slowly, okay? Or their cross or whatever the attack is, and then practicing that motion, okay? I find that is something that is overlooked. People just jump in the ring and they try to do it. It's like, you got to build that and develop that skill first. And I think that's really a real issue that I see in today's world. They go, oh, I'm going to try that. They see something on YouTube and go, oh, I'm going to try that out in the ring. I'm going to try that out this week in sparring. Doesn't make any sense because you have to give that time. One of my teachers used to say, you have to honor the movement. You have to honor the technique. You have to give it its due diligence. The number is 10,000 repetitions. When you've done something 10,000 repetitions, it doesn't have to be in the same structure. It could be 1,000 in front of the mirror, 1,000 to a partner slowly, 1,000, light movement, 1,000, so on and so forth. You're practicing it over and over and over again. It could be in shadow boxing or anything like that. But getting that structure down is key. When do we use a destruction and why do we use a destruction? See, this is the thing that I find the other thing. Like people go, well, that's not going to work. Well, what do you think is supposed to work? A destruction is simply creating a moment in time where you are able to cause pain, which creates a delay, which creates an opening for an opportunity for you, an open line of attack for you to now give consistent pressure until your opponent is no longer a problem. And that's the thing that I find really misunderstood. The idea of it is that I deaden that arm, I create pain for a moment, or when you're doing an elbow destruction, for instance, when I throw a punch, it hits that hand and it hurts. It could break something, it could not break something. But the idea is that it causes a delay in their attack. The delay creates an opening. The opening is your opportunity to just unleash your wrath until they're no longer a threat. That is the idea of a destruction, okay? I find it's there's a lot of misunderstanding about what this is really about, okay? And so why do we do it? We do it to create a delay. When do you apply a destruction? Okay? Well, you do it when the opportunity arises when you are structurally ready for it. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, every single time somebody throws an attack, you do a destruction. No, It's when everything lines up, your timing, your distance, all that stuff, when you're in the right position, depending on what range it is. That's why you have different destructions. We have destructions for long range or largo mono range. We have destructions for midro mono range, middle range. And we have destructions for close quarter, corto mono range, okay? Based on what range you're in. So this is what I have to say. I have a video, a whole course that's coming out soon, and I've been working on it due diligently. People have been calling me, asking me when it's going to be ready, which is really super exciting. And it's going to be it's going to be like a college course, okay? And it will be a step-by-step aspect on how to do Pantotoken properly. And the truth is that how does Pantotoken start? It starts with the foundation, and the foundation is boxing, okay? And so you have to first understand that you need to be able to slip, duck, bob, and weave. You need to be able to catch, cover, parry, all those different things, and be able to do the proper body mechanics, the proper footwork, all those things put into place, okay? Before you even think about using destructions, okay, of any kind. Before you think about doing off-settling techniques like foot sweeps and different things like that. Takedowns, dumog, all the wonderful things that are a part of what we call Pantotoken or Sudokan. So that is another aspect of this, is you need to know what range am I in right now, and am I able to do, for instance, an inside guillotine, or a Seiko destruction, or a long distance elbow destruction, okay? What range am I in, okay? So those techniques, first of all, those are not beginner techniques, okay? They're later on. You're going to learn how to start doing them. You're going to be practicing. You're going to be practicing with a partner, but you have to put the time in, and that's very important. A lot of comments in the comment section go, well, if it's so effective, why isn't it being used in the UFC? Well, I have seen it been used in the UFC, and the most easiest, simplest way to do it in the UFC is when the guys are standing like this, and somebody throws a jab at them, and they just bring their forearm or their elbow in front of them. That little teeny glove, it's going to hurt their hand, okay? But the thing is if they have to know that when they see a response from that pain, that then they have to come in, okay? The other one was one that was really famous with Angelo Silva, where the other guy did a knee destruction, and he broke Angelo Silva's shin, okay? That's a perfect illustration of destruction. But you have to remember something, that what is Pantotoken for? Pantotoken is for a violent altercation that takes place out in a street situation or home invasion, different things like that. You have to remember that Pantotoken was not designed to be a sport. It's designed to destroy a person's body. It's taught to how to hurt somebody real quick so they can get in and be honest with you, terminate that individual. And that's why spec ops and things like that, we're training those guys to do that. We're training them and teaching them how to use this in a way that it was originally taught in tribal warfare. And the truth is that Pantotoken was the last ditch effort in combat when somebody had lost their bolos, their swords, their knives, all that stuff, even their firearms, all that stuff was off to the side, and they're in a struggle of some sort, or they're in an altercation of some sort. So everything goes back to the idea of the knife. So that is a very important part to this whole thing. So I hope that helps answer some of your questions today. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. Thank you guys. Go to our website, pinnaclecombatarts.com. There you can find out more about what I do and the classes that I provide. Thank you guys so much for your support, and have a great day.